end-time sign had arrived. Nostradamus warned us, a mega earthquake is coming. A warning we can no longer dismiss. Our world is trembling loudly, clearly, and without mercy. Earthquakes are shaking the headlines, and scientists are raising red flags. But what if this was more than just tectonic plates shifting? What if the signs we're seeing today were already written, hidden in prophecy, waiting to be revealed? Centuries ago, Nostradamus, the enigmatic French seer, wrote verses that many believe foretold natural disasters, wars, and global upheaval. Today, as the ground grows restless and humanity grows anxious, his words feel less like ancient poetry and more like a chilling roadmap to the times we're living in. This is not just a warning about the earth, it's a wake-up call for the soul. Are we prepared? Not just with emergency kits and evacuation plans, but with inner clarity, compassion, and spiritual strength. Because when the ground beneath us shakes, it's not just our homes at risk, it's the balance of our lives, our values, and the world we're shaping for tomorrow. Welcome to The Journey of Wisdom, where we look deeper into what these signs might truly mean for you, for humanity, and for the journey ahead. Number 1. Introducing Nostradamus. To truly grasp the weight and urgency of the warnings tied to the so-called end times, we must first understand the man whose name has echoed through centuries whenever predictions of catastrophe surface. Michel de Nostradam, more widely known as Nostradamus. Born in 1503 in France, he wasn't merely a figure of curiosity or legend. He was a man of deep study and profound mystery. A trained physician and astrologer, Nostradamus lived during an era riddled with disease, war, and religious conflict, all of which shaped his worldview and spiritual insight. But what made him stand out wasn't just his intellect or medical knowledge. It was the peculiar way he channeled his visions of the future. His writings captured imaginations not only because of what he predicted, but because of how he conveyed those predictions. In 1555, he published his most famous work, Les Prophéties, a compilation of nearly 1,000 quatrains, 4-line poetic verses that are as haunting as they are cryptic. These verses, layered with symbolism, strange metaphors, and astrological imagery, offer glimpses into events that many believe map out the rise and fall of empires, catastrophic natural disasters, and global turmoil. What makes Nostradamus so compelling across generations is that he didn't write in plain language. His prophecies are riddled with codes, ancient languages mixed together, anagrams that twist meanings, and veiled references designed to obscure rather than reveal. Some say this was his way of avoiding the wrath of religious authorities at the time, who viewed prophecy with suspicion, while others believe he wanted to ensure that only those with sincere effort and insight could begin to uncover the deeper meanings. This complexity is part of why his work continues to spark debate. Was he truly seeing into the future, or simply a master of language and ambiguity? Regardless, what cannot be denied is how consistently people throughout history have turned to his words during moments of global uncertainty. Wars, plagues, and natural calamities have all been retrospectively linked to his writings, as if each line contains a puzzle waiting to be unlocked at the right time. The fascination with Nostradamus grows stronger during times like these, when the world feels increasingly unstable politically, environmentally, and spiritually. His verses don't offer clear-cut answers, but they stir something deep within the human psyche, a feeling that perhaps we've been warned and that the signs were there all along. This isn't about fear-mongering, it's about paying attention. His quatrains have been revisited with each passing century, and patterns do seem to emerge, predictions that eerily align with major world events, including revolutions, invasions, and natural disasters. Whether one views him as a true seer or a poetic philosopher, his enduring influence lies in his ability to ignite a sense of reflection and caution. And now, with whispers of mega-earthquakes and global unrest once again stirring in headlines and communities, many are returning to his writings, wondering if the verses once shrouded in poetic fog are now beginning to shine with terrifying clarity. The question remains, were his prophecies warnings for the distant future, or were they always meant for us, right here, right now? Number 2. The scientific basis for earthquake risk in America. Now that we've explored the mysterious prophecies of Nostradamus, let's shift our attention to what modern science is telling us, because while ancient predictions stir the soul, today's data-driven warnings speak directly to our reality. You see, the idea of a massive earthquake hitting America isn't just rooted in historical texts or cryptic verses. It's something scientists have been quietly preparing for and warning about for decades. Across the United States, several major fault lines run like silent cracks beneath the surface, and experts say they're not just potential hazards, they're ticking clocks. Have you ever wondered what lies beneath your feet and how stable the ground you walk on truly is? Let's take a closer look at the regions experts say are most at risk and why the time to pay attention is now. Let's start with California and the infamous San Andreas Fault, probably the most talked about fault line in the world. Stretching around 800 miles through the Golden State, this boundary between the Pacific and North American tectonic plates has long been known for its destructive power. The northern and central parts have ruptured before, but it's the southern section that scientists are especially worried about. It hasn't broken loose in over 300 years. This long period of silence isn't comforting. In fact, it's alarming. Experts have warned again and again that the so-called Big One could strike at any moment, causing catastrophic damage across Southern California. It's not a matter of superstition, it's a matter of geological history and patterns that have repeated over time. Next, we move to the Pacific Northwest and the Cascadia subduction zone. Lying just offshore from Northern California up to British Columbia, this area hides one of the most dangerous fault lines on the planet. Here, one tectonic plate is being forced under another in a process known as subduction, and when enough pressure builds up, often over centuries, it releases in the form of a megaquake. Scientists estimate that this region sees a major rupture every 300 to 500 years. The last one happened in 1700, over 320 years ago, and when it goes off again, it won't just be a strong quake. It could reach a magnitude of 9.0 or higher and trigger a tsunami that strikes the coast within minutes. Entire cities could be swallowed by water and crumbled by shaking. Are we truly prepared for that? And then there's the New Madrid seismic zone in the central US, a place many people don't even associate with earthquakes. Running through Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Kentucky, this zone is home to some of the most powerful quakes in American history. Back in the early 1800s, a series of quakes here were so intense they reportedly made the Mississippi River flow backwards. The region has been relatively quiet since then, but experts warn that silence doesn't mean safety. In fact, the lack of preparedness in this area is one of the greatest concerns, because most of the infrastructure, homes, schools, bridges, was never built to withstand a large quake. Could a disaster be waiting to happen in the heart of the country? Across all these regions, scientists agree on one chilling truth. These fault lines have passed their expected time frames for activity. That means the pressure has likely been building beneath the surface, just waiting for the right moment to release. And the signs are there. Small tremors, shifting land, changes in groundwater flow, clues that the Earth is under stress. While we can't predict the exact day or hour, experts are clear. The question is no longer if a massive earthquake will hit, but when. So what do we take from this? Is it fear, or is it awareness? The lesson here isn't to panic, but to prepare. Nature follows its own rhythm, and like any great teacher, it gives us signs if we're willing to listen. Are we paying attention to the knowledge available to us, both ancient and modern? Are we learning from history or ignoring it? The wisdom of the past and the science of today both point to the same truth. We must respect the power of the earth. Let this be a reminder that being informed is the first step toward being ready. And when we understand the forces that shape our world, we can live not in fear, but with greater responsibility, humility, and a deeper connection to the planet we call home. If you've made it this far, you're already awakening to the powerful signs unfolding around us. Comment below with "awakened mind" to show you're ready to face the truth and prepare for what's coming. Don't click away just yet. There's more to uncover about Nostradamus's warning and the signs pointing to the mega earthquake ahead. Stay until the end and be informed, not afraid. Number 3. Connecting the prophecies of Nostradamus. Now that we've seen how science strongly supports the growing risk of massive earthquakes across America, let's take a step further and explore something many find even more mysterious: Nostradamus's prophetic writings. You've probably heard his name before, maybe even read one of his cryptic quatrains. But how closely have you looked at them in the context of what's happening today? Could it be that this 16th century seer actually foresaw disasters that we're only now beginning to understand? And more importantly, are we paying attention? Among the many dark images in his predictions, wars, disease, societal breakdown, earthquakes appear with an unsettling frequency, each one wrapped in metaphor, but each sounding eerily close to what's happening around us. Let's look closely at some of his most striking quatrains and consider, could these ancient words be pointing us to a future that's already unfolding? Take Century 1, Quatrain 46, for instance. Nostradamus writes, "A great fire will fall from the sky for 3 nights. The cause will appear both stupefying and marvelous. Shortly after, there will be an earthquake." What does that mean to you? Fire falling from the sky, it sounds fantastical, but modern interpretations suggest this could refer to meteors, atmospheric anomalies, or even unexpected electromagnetic phenomena. Some fringe researchers even point to strange lights that sometimes appear in the sky before major earthquakes, known as earthquake lights. While traditional science doesn't fully understand these occurrences, the fact that they're real makes the quatrain feel less like fantasy and more like an encoded message. The most compelling part? Shortly after, there will be an earthquake. Could Nostradamus be hinting at a link between celestial events and seismic activity, something modern researchers are only beginning to explore? Then there's Century 6, Quatrain 24. Mars and the scepter will be found conjoined under Cancer. A calamitous war will follow shortly thereafter. A new king will be anointed who will bring peace on earth for a long time. This might sound purely astrological, but when decoded, it could be describing a major cosmic alignment in late June to mid-July, an alignment that historically has been associated with disruption. Mars symbolizes war, the scepter symbolizes authority or leadership, and Cancer is the astrological sign under which this alignment occurs. But beyond the political and astrological interpretation, some believe this also points to a physical shaking of the world. If society is already strained and conflict erupts, could a major earthquake serve as the breaking point that changes everything? And what does it mean when peace is promised only after destruction? Are we being told that a collapse, both physical and societal, is a necessary reset? Now, let's move to one of Nostradamus's most direct earthquake references, Century 9, Quatrain 83. The sun in 20 degrees of Taurus so strongly the earth trembles. The great theatre filled will be ruined, the air, sky and land darkened and troubled. This verse gives us a specific window, early to mid-May, when the sun sits in that exact position in Taurus. Could this be a clue about timing? The Great Theatre being ruined paints a vivid picture, possibly a stadium, church, or large gathering place collapsing in a major quake. And when you hear air, sky, and land darkened and troubled, you can almost see the aftermath, choking dust, debris, and panic. We've seen these images after real earthquakes, so how is it that he described this over 450 years ago? And if May is the time to watch, how prepared are we for what could come? One more quatrain that hits close to home, especially for Americans, is Century 1, quatrain 87. Earth-shaking fire from the center of the earth will cause tremors around the new city. Two great rocks will war for a long time. Then Ausa will color a new river red. Many interpret New City as New York City, or possibly the New World as a whole America. The earth-shaking fire clearly points to volcanic or tectonic energy erupting from deep underground. And the two great rocks locked in conflict. That sounds a lot like tectonic plates grinding against each other, the very cause of earthquakes. The final line, referencing Ausa coloring a river red, adds another haunting layer. Could this be a symbolic image of flooding, soil runoff, or even bloodshed following a catastrophic event? Either way, it's a vivid warning of chaos that follows Earth's fury. When you take all these verses together and compare them with modern geological findings, a pattern begins to emerge, one that spans centuries and links ancient foresight with current threats. Nostradamus may have written in riddles and symbolism, but the core message rings louder today than ever. Great change is coming, and it may begin with the Earth itself. So let me ask you this: if these messages were hidden in plain sight for hundreds of years, why are we only now beginning to take them seriously? And if both prophecy and science are pointing in the same direction, how long can we afford to ignore the signs? Here's the takeaway. Prophecy doesn't have to be mystical to be meaningful. Whether you believe Nostradamus truly saw the future or simply had a deep understanding of human nature and natural cycles, the value of his words lies in their ability to wake us up, to make us question, reflect, and prepare. The deeper message here isn't just about earthquakes or disasters. It's about how we respond to the warnings around us, how we choose awareness over ignorance and preparation over fear. When ancient wisdom and modern science begin to echo the same truths, it might just be time to listen more closely. What will you choose to do with that knowledge? Will you dismiss it or allow it to guide you toward deeper understanding and greater resilience in a world that's constantly shifting beneath our feet? Number 4. Relating prophecy to present-day reality. As we continue to explore the link between prophecy and reality, it becomes harder to dismiss the idea that the world Nostradamus warned us about is beginning to take shape in our lifetime. His verses, once seen as distant poetry, are now finding unsettling reflections in the world around us, especially when we observe what's been happening in nature, the atmosphere, and even within our own society. What if the signs he described weren't just metaphors, but early warnings meant for a future generation, perhaps ours? Today, we're witnessing a wave of unusual and unexplained phenomena that many feel point to an approaching shift, not just in the Earth's crust, but in the very fabric of our civilization. Take, for instance, the strange behavior of animals before major earthquakes, a phenomenon recognized both by ancient cultures and modern scientists. Birds flying off course, dogs howling or acting erratically, sea life beaching itself in massive numbers. These aren't random events. Many experts believe that animals are sensitive to changes in the Earth's magnetic and vibrational fields, and that their behavior might be one of the planet's earliest warning systems. When this kind of activity increases, as it has in recent years, it leads many to ask, what exactly are they sensing, and should we be paying closer attention? Adding to this growing list of anomalies are the mysterious sky phenomena, red auroras, bright glows, and flashes of light appearing before earthquakes, known as earthquake lights. These are no longer just folk tales or internet rumors. Some of these events have been captured on camera and are now the subject of serious scientific study. Some researchers point to stress in the Earth's crust releasing electrical charges, while others connect them to spikes in solar activity and disturbances in the Earth's magnetic field. At the same time, we're seeing more frequent solar flares, bursts of charged particles from the sun that some believe could not only interfere with electronics and satellites, but also potentially affect tectonic movement. Combined with the growing number of seismic swarms, those clusters of small earthquakes happening in short periods in places like California, Alaska, and even parts of the central US, the Earth seems to be sending signals that something deeper is brewing. The question is, are we listening, or are we too distracted by the noise of daily life to hear the warnings coming from the very ground beneath us? But it's not just nature that's speaking. History, too, offers a chilling mirror, showing us that massive earthquakes have often coincided with, or even foreshadowed, dramatic societal shifts in America's story. Look back to the New Madrid earthquakes of 1811 to 1812, some of the most violent ever recorded in the continental US. They struck during the nation's rapid westward expansion following the Louisiana Purchase, at a time when the country was redefining itself, physically and politically. Then, the devastating 1906 San Francisco earthquake came just before the US stepped into its role as a global power after the Spanish-American War. It shattered a key economic and cultural center, forcing a rebuild that echoed the country's transformation. Decades later, in 1989, the Loma Prieta quake hit California during the closing chapters of the Cold War, a time when the world's political structure was about to change forever. Do these patterns suggest mere coincidence, or is there a deeper rhythm that connects the shaking of the earth with the shaking of civilization? As we sit now in another period of intense tension, politically divided, economically strained, and spiritually uncertain, some believe the United States is again nearing a breaking point, or perhaps a turning point, where both the social structure and the physical land could shift in profound ways. When we look at these patterns not just in prophecy, but in nature and history, they begin to tell a story that's bigger than any single event. It's a story of warning, of connection, and perhaps of preparation. Could it be that the Earth reacts not only to physical forces, but also to the energy of a society on the edge of change? And if the planet is mirroring the instability of human life, what responsibility do we have to recognize the signs not in fear, but in awareness? This isn't about doom and gloom. It's about being conscious. It's about understanding that prophecy and science, myth and history, emotion and energy are not always separate paths, but sometimes meet at the same crossroads. And standing at that crossroads, we have a choice. We can ignore the tremors, physical and societal, or we can acknowledge them and ask ourselves, what is the Earth trying to teach us? Because maybe, just maybe, the ground beneath our feet is not just shifting, it's speaking. If this message resonates with you, you're not alone. The signs of the end times are here, and knowledge is your first step to preparation. Type, "I'm ready," in the comments to stand with others who choose awareness over fear. Keep watching, there's more ahead that you need to know before it's too late. Number 5. Spiritual message and preparation. As we reach this final part of the journey through prophecy, science, and historical patterns, the question naturally turns inward. What does it all mean for us personally and spiritually? When the ground shakes, it doesn't only move beneath our feet, it stirs something deeper within. Earthquakes, throughout history, have not just been seen as natural events, but often as profound messages, wake-up calls that go beyond the physical world and reach into the soul. And perhaps, when we witness such powerful signs, it's not only the crust of the earth that is shifting, but the very foundation of how we live, think, and believe. Could it be that these warnings, whether from Nostradamus, ancient scriptures, or nature itself, are not just about destruction, but about correction? Across many traditions, natural disasters have been portrayed as consequences of humanity losing its way, drifting from truth, compassion, and unity. In the writings of Nostradamus, we see this theme echoed, the idea that chaos and catastrophe follow moral decline. Similarly, in biblical texts like Revelation and Isaiah, the shaking of the earth is linked to divine judgment upon nations that have turned away from righteousness. So, in this moment, looking around at the world, at the division, the anger, the spiritual confusion, you might ask yourself, are we being called not just to prepare, but to wake up? And if that's true, then how should we respond? First and foremost, live in truth, not in fear. Fear often creates more destruction than the event itself. It clouds judgment, closes hearts, and paralyzes action. But when we choose to live in truth, we take back our power. Living in truth means looking at our lives with honesty, without judgment, but with clarity. What parts of your life feel misaligned or unsettled? What decisions are you making from habit rather than intention? Preparing spiritually doesn't mean becoming perfect, it means becoming present. This moment, right now, is all we truly have, and in this moment we have a choice, to live in awareness or to be consumed by anxiety. Truth gives us the ability to respond with grace instead of panic, to find meaning even in hardship, and to stay centered when the world feels unsteady. Next, we are called to return to faith and sincerity. In times of uncertainty, many people feel distant from their spiritual roots, not because they don't believe, but because they've grown disconnected through the noise of daily life. But now, more than ever, we're being invited to reconnect not through obligation, but through longing. This is a time to turn inward, to reignite the spark of faith that may have grown dim, and to approach our spiritual lives not as a task, but as a sanctuary. Whether through prayer, meditation, or silent reflection, these practices open the heart, clear the mind, and bring us closer to what really matters. Repentance, in this context, is not about guilt, it's about courage. The courage to admit where we've lost our way, and the humility to return to a path of integrity and love. And from that sincerity flows peace, a quiet strength that steadies us through any storm. That leads us to a powerful reminder: a good heart is the strongest shelter. In a world that may be shaken, it is the heart that holds firm. When everything else feels uncertain, the one thing we can always choose is the kind of energy we carry. A kind, compassionate, honest heart becomes not just a refuge for ourselves, but a beacon for others. And no matter what faith you follow or beliefs you hold, the principle remains the same. Goodness protects. It doesn't shield us from all pain, but it does shield us from despair. So, let your goodness be visible in how you speak, how you help, how you listen. In the darkest nights, even a small flame of kindness becomes a lighthouse. Let your heart be that light for yourself and for the world around you. Still, spiritual awareness must go hand in hand with practical steps. So we must take practical action, be physically prepared. Being spiritually grounded doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means facing it wisely. If you live in a region vulnerable to natural disasters, especially earthquakes, then being prepared is not fear, it's love in action. Start with an emergency kit stocked with essentials: clean water, non-perishable food, medical supplies, a flashlight, batteries, and copies of important documents. Have a family plan, know where to meet, how to communicate, and what to do if systems go down. Understand your environment. Where are the safe exits? How can you turn off gas lines? What are the local emergency services? And don't forget to secure your home anchor furniture, clear exits, keep safety tools accessible. Taking these steps doesn't mean you're expecting the worst. It means you're honoring the life you've been given and doing your part to protect it. It's an act of mindfulness, a quiet form of respect for the gift of life. Now, when we bring these two elements together, spiritual clarity and practical readiness, we step into true resilience. That's why it's vital to combine spiritual awareness with concrete steps. When we're prepared both inside and out, we stop reacting in fear and begin responding with calm. In times of crisis, people don't always remember what happened, but they do remember how they felt. You can be the steady hand, the calm voice, the source of hope. When your inner world is aligned, your outer actions become purposeful. In that moment, you're no longer just surviving, you're leading. And the world needs more of that, not more fear, but more calm, more clarity, more love turned into action. Which brings us to perhaps the most personal call of all, a moment to recenter your life. These warnings, whether they come from prophecy, science, or the whisper of your own intuition, aren't here to punish or scare you. They are gifts, alarms that wake us from spiritual sleep, invitations to stop chasing distractions and return to what truly matters. Take this time to evaluate your life. Are your daily habits aligned with your deepest values? Have you given time to your relationships, your health, your spiritual life? Or has the noise of the world drowned out the voice of your heart? This is your moment, not to fear the end, but to reclaim your beginning, to choose a life that's intentional, loving, awake. Finally, in everything you do, strive to respond with courage and compassion. The world doesn't need more fear-driven reactions. It needs you, your heart, your clarity, your willingness to rise. So ask yourself, is there someone you need to forgive? A part of yourself you've neglected? A relationship you need to heal? Use this moment to choose love over fear, courage over comfort. Because when you live with awareness and walk with sincerity, you become unshakable, not because life gets easier, but because your spirit grows stronger. And the beauty of that strength is that it lifts others too. When you stand, others find the strength to stand beside you. In this way, you don't just prepare for the end, you help create a better beginning. As we've seen, the signs are all around us, etched in prophecy, echoed in science, and unfolding in our daily lives. Whether you view Nostradamus's words as warning or wisdom, one truth stands clear. We are living in a time that calls for deeper awareness, spiritual clarity, and practical preparation. The earth may be trembling, but that doesn't mean we must live in fear. Instead, let it awaken something powerful within us, a desire to live more consciously, to act with compassion, and to stay grounded in truth. If you found value in today's journey, don't forget to like this video, share it with others who may need to hear this message, and subscribe to The Journey of Wisdom for more insights like this. Be sure to turn on notifications so you won't miss our upcoming episodes, exploring ancient prophecies, spiritual teachings, and the deeper meaning behind the signs of our times. Thank you for walking this path with us. Stay safe, stay wise, and stay connected.